All right, welcome to another episode of The American Dream. I'm your host, Craig Sewing, where our goal every show is to go against the grain of that negative media. Today, we got a great show lined up for you. We are talking about legacy. What's more important than the impact you make in the greatest country on planet Earth? So we're going to be diving into some great advice and stories along the legacy theme. Of course, if you want to engage in the conversation, you can do so online. That being said, let's get this show started right now. Every single day, you are consumed with information. With the 24/7 negative news cycle and a pop culture that's polluting the airwaves, all selling out for the ratings game. Well, guess what? There's a more positive way to look at life. You live in the greatest city in the greatest country on the planet. Every day with our elite network of professionals, our goal is to educate, empower, and engage. And now it's time to fight for your American dream. Now for the word on the American Dream. Today's show, we are theming around legacy. Now on this program, we talk a lot about success. I want to make a very key point here. Success is not determined by income. It's determined by impact. Let's use the American Dream as an example. This is a show not owned by a network. It's commercial free, where we have partnerships that have helped us launch all across the country, going against the grain of the negative media that you're so tired of. That's making an impact. And there's a business around this whole thing as well, called Ignite Media. We're really, really proud of it. I want you to think about the impact that you're having in your business, or maybe your personal life, your family, whatever it may be. How do you make an impact? Now is the best time in the history of mankind to build a brand, to make that impact, and it's through digital and social media. You can aggregate attention now better than ever. So what better opportunity than 2018 to make a social impact? We want to incentivize you to do that. We want to fan the flame for you. Today, you're going to hear some great interviews on the topic, some inspiration, and don't forget, you can always connect with us online to get more information as well. Let's start the American Dream Legacy right now.
Hey, I'm Jen Morris, co-host of The American Dream. Are you sick of the negative media? Then join the conversation online.
All right, now joining us on The American Dream, a running back for the Denver Broncos, CJ Anderson. Good to have you on the show, my friend. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
So today we're going to talk about your organization, Dreams Never Die Foundation. Look forward to that. But man, I gotta chat with you about this past weekend's football games. Oh man, what'd you think of the Saints-Vikings game?
It's tough. I mean, as a kid, we all get taught, man, as playing safety, don't let no one get behind you. I feel bad for Drew Brees. Just been putting so much effort and so much work and his craft into this game, and he's one of the top players, and to see a season end like that, man, definitely sucks. Definitely sucks.
Yeah, it hurt to watch. That was a tough play, but for the Vikings, man, what an incredible story. That's going to be remembered forever. Any predictions for the Super Bowl and who you think wins it?
Vikings Patriots. Ooh, as much as I hate to say it, Tom Brady wins this 6.
Why does everybody hates to say it? It's just
good thing with New England. I mean, I've played them so many times in my career, and I've had success against them, but they just never beat themselves, man. They're tough to beat, and having Belichick and Brady. Belichick is one thing, but having a guy like Tom Brady who just makes the right decisions like every time he drops back, they're just tough to beat. They're tough to beat.
Yeah, I don't care who wants to hate on the Patriots. You got to respect them. I mean,
all the way.
They know how to win. All right, man. Speaking of winning, you're doing some big things with Dreams Never Die Foundation. Tell us a little bit about it.
So pretty much, I started a foundation for the inner city youth back in my community in Vallejo, California. We're calling it Dreams Never Die. I was an inner city kid who had limited resources, but I had the right guidance and mentorship to put me in the position I'm in today. Leading to the NFL and being an alum at UC Berkeley and things of that nature. So pretty much, just in a nutshell, what I'm doing is I'm creating a facility. It's a 60,000 square foot building for academic and athletic resources for your regular students and your student athletes. Coming in with helping out with our resources academically. Next week on the 25th and 26th of January, I go to Harvard, go down and speak at Harvard, which should be really amazing, and talk to them about our academic programs. And, I got Google and Apple and Facebook and Arrow, Twitch, and a bunch of other big-time companies I meet with sit down this week in Silicon Valley. And To turn around to finish up, I go to MIT to speak at their Sloan Analytic Conference with myself, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, and Barack Obama. So I'm just trying to put the foundation on the map. Like I said, I'm just trying to provide elite top resources for academics and athletics. And, inside that facility, we'll deal with football, girls and boys basketball, softball, volleyball, golf, and baseball. And then everything on the academic side as far as tutoring, SAT, ACT prep, and, and different things as painting, cooking classes, just different programs in that one facility to let kids know that you just don't have to be, the next C.J. Anderson or the next Jay-Z to be successful. You can do anything in this world, whether it's technology, whether it's being an author, whether it's being a painter or cook, to be successful. And any kid that has a dream, we want them to flourish that and be themselves. So we're helping all types of students, from student athletes to regular academic students. And hopefully we create the facility and dreamers start, being successful real soon in the fall of 2019.
Love it, man. I think what's really unique about what you're doing, obviously as a professional athlete, you got a big heart for sports, so you're having the athletic side of things put together as well. And I heard you say 60,000 square feet.
Yeah, so the building of 60,000 square feet, it has all the sports that I named inside there for training and rec use. Inside that building will be a 20,000 square foot building inside that 60,000 square foot building. Strictly for academics. It's a 20,000 square foot academics, tutoring, computer lab, different tech software, things of that nature. So it's going to be pretty interesting and pretty fun when it finally gets together.
Best of both worlds. So doing the athletics and the academics. That's awesome that you would take a leadership role on that. You're obviously a busy guy with training, being an NFL football player, but to take time out of your already busy schedule to do that, it's just awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on The American Dream. I hope our audience can reach out to you, connect, learn more about it. C.J. Anderson, thanks for coming on The American Dream.
Thank you.
All right, you got to love when these guys, they take time out of their hectic schedules where they have to train all day to be professional athletes, and they're passing it on. That's truly legacy right there. More of The American Dream coming up next.
I'm Jem Morris, co-host of The American Dream. Are you interested in finance, real estate, entrepreneurship, or business? Well, you can follow us along online and watch more of our episodes.
Welcome to The American Dream. Today I have with me Eran, the CEO of ID Cyber Center. Wire fraud, cyber hacks. He is the man to go to. Eran, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Happy 2018. Happy New Year.
Same to you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Of course. So let's jump right into it. Let's talk about how 2017, what did you see in cybercrime? What were the biggest things you came across?
Well, obviously the biggest thing that people are talking about is the Equifax hack.
Yes.
Which left, I believe, every adult in this country that has a social security number, their information is out there.
Sure, right.
So is it going to get any better? Unfortunately, I hate to say that I believe it's not going to get any better.
It can't get better because all that happens is hackers just keep getting smarter.
Exactly.
They're like we do, we evolve, they have to evolve too. So it's really just speaking to you, making sure that we can predict what's going to happen and be able to protect ourselves. Right?
Correct. So, if hackers have all our information from Equifax, probably they would have sat on it for a little bit. Mm-hmm. Although I believe it's a little bit more than just a simple hack. It's probably some countries are involved because it's the size of the whole thing is much more beyond the capability of just an individual. So I think there are big country, if I can say, behind that. But we gotta watch it. Our information is out there. They don't have to use it today. They don't have to use it tomorrow. They can just sit with it, wait, and use it whenever they feel the time is right.
It can happen at any point, so
Absolutely.
You always have to be prepared. How can you best protect yourself from being protected from identity theft?
Well, beside the fact that I think you should get any type of monitoring, and obviously I'm biased on that one, but we provide monitoring that is really essential. We give people what they want, what they need, not what we want to give them or what we want to sell them.
Absolutely.
But there's a lot of aspects that people should know beside that. You should really be careful. You should really choose hard to remember password. I know it's a pain, but you really should. You should really watch how you pay things online, what do you use, you should really watch public Wi-Fi. That's
Sure.
becoming a rising situation.
And I know that with, the new Apple phones coming out, the 8, the X, and now Apple Pay is so readily available.
Yeah.
You have your Apple Watch, you have it amongst multiple devices. What do you think about Apple Pay? Is that just another way for us to be?
They can hack into anything. If your phone is in your pocket, they could sit even next door or remotely somewhere else and try to get into your phone and get into your Apple Pay. But it's like any other hacker that would do it. Those will be smaller
Sure.
type hackers. But I'm talking about with the madness that's going with the cryptocurrencies.
Yes.
Right? Everyone is carrying around a digital wallet, and they always
Bitcoins,
exactly
big, yes.
all the other. There are over 1,300 cryptocurrencies, right? But people are thinking, well, it's not safe, it's not secure. Look, I always explain to people, this is like leaving your wallet on the table. When you have cash in your wallet, you leave it on the table, somebody steals it, it's gone.
Right.
With cryptocurrencies and your digital wallet, whether you use Coinbase or any other company for that matter that offer the services, it is the password that makes it or breaks it.
Sure.
So it's the more difficult it is to break into your password, the less likely they will be able to steal your digital wallet.
It all comes down to the password, and I know you've touched
Absolutely.
on this with Craig before, the top 10 passwords.
Yeah.
There are a top 10 that people use over and over, and the top one for 2 years straight was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Exactly.
I know people use the word password.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
things, baseball, football, things that are so commonly used. You have to go with the capitals, the lowercase, the numbers, the special insignia.
Special character, exactly. And it's really important because people don't realize there's a lot of Facebook hacking lately.
Right.
And the reason they do that, because they really want to watch trends. They want to watch what you do, who you're doing it with.
And all of that is online. People can
Absolutely.
find out more than we even know because of our
Absolutely.
online presence. They can
Absolutely.
find out where we would go, when we would be there.
That's right. They look at your activities from past weekend. You were out with your dog, whatever the name is,
Sure.
and then now they go and trying to get in, and there's a question, your favorite dog's name, and
Yep.
now they have that,
They
or
have
your
that in
in-laws.
there.
So it's really important, guys, to be careful what information you put out there.
Okay, so for 2018, to keep yourself protected, what's your one last line?
Get monitoring. Get security.
monitoring.
It's like insurance.
It's easy.
You need insurance. You
Yep.
can't live without insurance anymore. Those days are over.
Absolutely.
It's not a question of if, but it's a question of when it's
Sure.
going to happen.
Yep.
That's it.
Well, thank you so much, Eran, for being here with us
Thank
today.
you for
Get
having me.
monitoring. You heard it here. Protect yourself in 2018. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Jem Morris, co-host of The American Dream. Don't forget, you can always watch more of our content online and follow us along on social media.
Now, of course, on a show called The American Dream, you got to talk a little bit about real estate. Nobody better to do that with than award-winning podcaster from the Real Wealth Show and now Real Estate News is a new thing you're doing, Kathy Fettke, one of our favorites. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you for
Let's
having
talk
me back.
housing.
Let's do it.
No shortage of stuff to talk about.
Oh my, but shortage of housing for sure.
That was not even scripted, Kathy Fettke. But no, okay, let's start there. Inventory.
Yeah.
So we're going into the new year, and that seems to be the thing that we've been talking about for like 5 years, right?
Yeah. Everything goes in cycles, and people forget that. Everything goes in cycles. So, 7 years ago, we had way too much housing and no one would buy it. It was cheap, interest rates were low, it was the best deal ever, and no one wanted it. Now, you fast forward, we don't have enough inventory because during that
But
time...
interest rates are still low?
Now, they will likely be going up. I predicted last year that they wouldn't when everybody else said they would, and they didn't because everything was too uncertain with a new president. But now things appear to be more certain. And people do believe that some of the things that the president said he would do may actually happen. And so with deregulation, with tax reform, people are optimistic, and that's showing up. Whether it's real or not, whatever your beliefs are, the majority of people are optimistic. And that means we're probably going to see another really good year. from an economic perspective, and that's not so great for the housing market because it probably means interest rates will continue to rise, prices will continue to rise, there'll still be a continued lack of inventory, and that's going to be tough for first-time home buyers.
Yeah, for our audience, good news is kind of bad news when it comes to interest rates, right? You're going to see a sell-off in bonds, money will move into an optimistic equity market, stock market. You'll probably see mortgage rates creep up. That's your prediction?
Well,
It's tough because there's so many variables, right?
There are
you got international variables,
there's
North
one
Korea,
main
tax
one.
reform.
There's a main variable that everybody needs to look at and most people don't understand, and that is the money supply, and it's stimulus. And so we have had unprecedented stimulus, $4.5 trillion of stimulus, and that's just what we know about. And so that's been poured into the economy. If we didn't have a robust economy because of that, it would be terrifying.
Right.
So now the Fed is doing the opposite, and it is tapering, it is tightening. So the money's coming back out of the money supply. One of the reasons it grew and why they have a big balance sheet is because they were buying bonds to keep mortgages low. They're not doing that anymore. They're reversing it.
They're selling.
Yeah. So we're going to see interest rates go up. If they do that, they're raising interest rates. That's tightening. Less money out there. So people need to be aware that without stimulus, sort of the air comes out of the balloon.
Sure.
But there's a new stimulus, and that stimulus is tax reform.
Real quick, because we're a little rushed here, the mortgage interest deduction,
Yes.
how impactful do you think that is on housing?
I differ from nearly everyone on this on this subject because I don't think it'll have an impact. I really don't. Not where it's at because. For the first-time home buyer, they're looking at that because they're squeezed,
Sure.
and they're not going to be affected because the average home price is, around $250, and the mortgage deduction goes up to, higher than that.
Okay.
And so it's not going to affect most people. It would only affect
interesting.
the high end. Now, do high-end
Do
buyers?
high-end really care about that
They
tax?
don't care. What are they? They're buying a house because they want a house.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Kathy Fettke, one of the best. RealWealthNetwork.com. Great podcast. Now you got the real estate news coming out.
Yeah.
We love having you on this show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. If you want to know anything about real estate, don't forget we want to be a resource for you as well. Reach out to us online. There's a contact form. You got questions, you need advice, you need an introduction, no matter what market you're in. Make sure you reach out for advice. More of the American Dream coming up next. Well, as you know, the American Dream is a national program where we focus on business, the entrepreneurial spirit, overcoming adversity, finance, the market, all things that are relevant to empowering your American Dream. But a big topic of conversation on this show is housing. So what we do is we integrate local, top-producing, award-winning realtors to cover a wide range of topics on that subject, different micro markets, different niche subject matter. Housing is such a big topic, so we're going to bring you a lot of information right now from some of the best in your market. Let's check out these interviews.
Welcome back to the American Dream. My first guest today specializes in the Central Austin real estate market. It is none other than Paul Reddam, Austin Platinum Top 50 winner in 2018 with Holmesville Real Estate. Paul, thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me, and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year. Well, I do want to talk to you about this new year, 2018, but first I want to go back a little bit and reflect, which is what we often do in January, right, Paul?
That's right. That's right.
So tell me a little bit about how 2017 was for you in the real estate market.
Well, for us personally, it was great. It was another banner year, and we couldn't be more happier or prouder and all that stuff. But what we saw in the marketplace, the two trends that really developed through the year, and we think in most part will continue, are that there just aren't a lot of homes for folks to choose from when they're buying. And then the other really big thing that surprised me was that in the $1 million plus market, we saw a 22% increase in the number of homes sold from 6 as compared to 16. So that's a huge lift in the number of $1 million sales that we saw, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Is Austin in a bubble?
Well, that's a great question. We're definitely getting more expensive, but what we're seeing is that the jobs that are being provided to folks coming to town are definitely paying for it. So we're seeing. I took a look because I'd like to analyze these things. If you have a couple that each one makes $60,000, those guys should be able to pay for a $450,000 starter home. And if you have a couple that's a little bit further along in life, maybe each one of them's making $100,000, those guys can afford like a $750,000 family home. And if you have, at the very top end, if you have a CEO or whoever that's earning $300,000 or more, they can afford about a $1.1 million home. And these jobs are kind of becoming the new normal, and these wages are becoming the new normal. So I don't think we're in a bubble because we can support those numbers.
Right. I think that is so helpful how you just broke it down for people. I think sometimes people that are looking to purchase a home really don't know what bracket they might fall into. I want to now go back to the beginning of our interview where we talked about the new year, and I want to talk to you about 2018. Paul, do you have any tips or tricks, I should say even, for home buyers and sellers for this year?
Well, absolutely. I think being prepared no matter what you're doing is really key. And for buyers, I think you need to educate yourself to the market and be ready to buy whatever comes along. The good homes, even if we're going to slow down a little bit on growth here in 2018, they're going to go fast. People are wanting really good homes and really nice homes because everybody apparently needs to work to afford the homes they're buying. And if you're a seller, I think you really need to be focused on getting your home prepared, because it needs to be nice and it needs to be done so those guys that are working hard to pay for the homes that we're selling,
That's right.
We want them to buy it, and they don't have time to play around with playing fix-up.
What about appreciation? What do you forecast for this year? I know you don't have a crystal ball, but are you seeing possibly a 2%, possibly a 5%? What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I think we're going to continue to see price appreciation. Over the last 4 or 5 years, we've seen in Austin 6 to 8% appreciation. I think in the coming year we're going to see more like 4 to 5%. So it'll slow a little bit, but not too much.
Now, Paul, we are running out of time, but I do know that you have a couple properties coming on the market pretty soon. Can you give us a little bit of a teaser about those?
I sure can. We have one that has exclusive waterfront access that's a townhome. We have a condo that's right in the middle of town that we're super excited about. And we have a beautiful family home that I'm most excited about that's coming on Friday. We have others also. If your listeners want to go to homesville.com, they can see them on there once we start our pre-marketing.
Oh, I love it. Great tease, Paul. I can see why you are certainly a platinum top 50 real estate agent in the Austin market. Thank you so much for being back on the show.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you.
And if you have any other questions, reach out to us online or follow us along on social media. We would love to hear from you. And we'll be right back with more of The American Dream. My next guest is Gregory Tran, realtor and team leader of the Gregory Group and a platinum top 50 agent. Thank you so much for being back on the show with us today, Greg.
Thanks for having me.
So I know that you are highlighting a neighborhood today that not very many people know about, and it's called Spanish Oaks. Tell me about this area.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is a great little neighborhood. It's out there in the Texas Hill Country in Bee Caves. It's only about 20 minutes from Austin. But the cool thing about it is it's a gated golf course community, so it's pretty exclusive, and it's nestled really among the like a nature preserve out there, and it sits right next to Barton Creek. So it's a really nice place you can live.
Tell me a little bit about the lifestyle then that you imagine maybe the perfect buyer for that home having, especially when you have amenities such as the nature and the creek right outside of your front door.
There's so much there, and it has hike and bike trails, like we mentioned before. It has all the green belt and those things, but it has a lot of things like the golf, right? You've got an 18-hole award-winning golf course there. You've got the Austin Tennis Academy, which is right outside the neighborhood. And, one of the things I really like about it that's really unique is they have something called the fish camp. What the fish camp is it's this lake right in the middle of the neighborhood. It has a rustic little fish dock on it and a little, it's a fish camp. There's nothing better to do on an evening when you're watching the sun go down and your kids are there fishing, your other kids are over here riding your bike. It's just so picturesque.
This sounds like an incredibly relaxing space. I can picture this when you're talking about it, and I have to say I really feel like I already need to go there. I already need a vacation from the holidays, Greg. And I think that it also really lends itself to a luxury indoor-outdoor living lifestyle.
Oh, definitely.
Now,
Definitely.
something else that I know is so important to buyers, Greg, is the school system and the school districts surrounding the homes that they are looking at to purchase. Tell me a little bit about the school district near this property specifically that you're going to be talking about here in a minute.
Well, so this goes to Lake Travis ISD, which is perennially rated one of the top school districts in the state. They're really well known for academics, whether you're talking elementary, middle, or high school. It's always going to be a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 for academics. And people do love that. But you know what else people like about schools here in Texas?
What's that?
Football.
Football.
Lake Travis has won something like 5 or 6 out of the last 10 Texas State championships in high school football, which is a huge deal if you're out here. And the last Heisman winner actually came from Lake Travis High School as well.
Wow, that's incredible. Friday Night Lights, right?
Exactly.
Now, Greg, I know that I touched on it earlier, but the reason that we're focusing in on the Spanish Oaks area is because you have a gorgeous listing in this area. Tell me about this property.
That's right. I'm co-marketing this home with my partner, Jeanette Spinelli. It's a beautiful home, 5308 Spanish Oaks Club Boulevard. Sits on a 1-acre lot. And the nice thing about it is that they really thought out the placement of the home because they placed it a little farther back from the neighbors. So when you're sitting in the back of the house, you actually don't see any neighbors around you. All you see is a greenbelt and a golf course in the hill country. It's about a 5,000 square foot house. It has 4 bedroom suites, all the stuff that you would expect. A couple living areas and an office. But of course, we're talking about the indoor-outdoor stuff, right? It has a huge outdoor patio. It's all stonework. It's covered. You've got a big pool, hot tub, and of course, it all looks over the hills.
Well, it absolutely sounds gorgeous. What is better than that? The indoor-outdoor lifestyle. We all want that. Greg, thank you so much for being back on the show today.
Thanks.
And if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to us online, AmericanDreamNetwork.tv. We'll be right back with more of the American Dream.
Hey, Penny Green here with Synergy One Lending, coming to you from Austin, Texas. Today I want to talk to you about Market in a Minute, what's going on in our industry. Well, first of all, consumers have had a hard time getting financing because of the burdensome documentation required when you apply for a loan. Well, that is changing with technology. It's making it easier for our clients to acquire their own asset verification, ordering their credit reports, verifying their own work history, all through the technology advancement that the mortgage industry is putting in place. Would love to tell you a little more about that. Give us a call if you have questions or are interested in knowing how to make this process even simpler.
All right, that's all for today's show. The American Dream Legacy. Hey, if you want to comment on this show, if you want to follow us on social media, we would love to hear from you. Visit us online at AmericanDreamNetwork.tv. Follow us there. And of course, don't forget to tune into our next episode of The American Dream. See you next time.